I'm Ethan Nestor, or CrankGameplays on the internet. I do gaming stuff and vlogging stuff and kind of whatever I feel like uploading or creating. I definitely think I identify way more as a YouTuber now, and I just like creating things rather than specifically gaming stuff. So I started YouTube when I was 15, and ever since I was little, I've always been fascinated by like the film industry and everything. When my brother and I were super young, we constantly made home videos, and then I wanted to try and do acting stuff, and then when YouTube first became a thing and I saw other people making videos, I was like, hey, I can do that same thing. So one night at like 2 a.m. on August 29th, we recorded our first video, and then I just haven't stopped. I think that's a scary thing about YouTube, is that it's so new that people don't really know where it's gonna go and how big it's gonna get. And so a lot of people are just trying to create as much as they can for as long as they can, because nobody knows what's gonna happen because it's all so new. When I first started making videos, it was definitely more of an act. I didn't know what kind of personality I wanted to show on the internet. And I think that's something interesting about making videos. When you're on camera, you are like putting on an act. You're playing yourself up. And back then, I didn't really know how to do that without becoming like a weird character. And you could tell that I was trying really hard. Whereas now it's like, okay, when I'm getting ready to record, like it's a lot more natural, and it's just like a hyper exaggerated version of myself. YouTube was the first thing that I had found that like I really, really loved. And if other people have done it, then that means that I can too. I don't want to give up on this thing. And I also want to prove the people wrong that have said that you can't do this thing. And so that was the biggest motivator for me. And I'm a firm believer that if you're truly passionate about something and you're willing to work really hard and be dedicated, then you can do that thing. I think the thing that I'm most grateful for is just the support that I got from my family. I told my parents I want to take a gap year and just focus on YouTube and see where it goes, and then after that year, if nothing happens, then I'll go to school. During that time, it did grow a lot, and then my friend Mark asked me to move out to LA, and so it just sort of worked out. My family was always very into creative stuff, and that's what they were pushing me to do, was doing creative stuff. They were like, you should try it. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, then you know, you'll have to figure something else out. I was a gymnast for 10 years, and that's like all I did. And then I found YouTube, and so I was doing YouTube and gymnastics, and I was really passionate about those two things. So I started getting bad grades, so at that time I had to choose between gymnastics and YouTube, and that was one of the hardest decisions that I've ever had to make. That was a really big turning point in my life, and so I had to really look at myself and look at my life and be like, okay, what do I value more? Do I want to give that up in pursuit of this other thing, or do I want to give up this new thing and stay on the track that I have been going at? Everything has led up to who I am now and where I am now, so I wouldn't go back and change anything at all. I think the growth of my channel has affected me a lot in many different ways. I'm not really the same person at all as when I started. I think change is really, really good, even if part of that journey is me having a bad part of my life. You always grow from those experiences, so. I'm moving to LA. Moving out to LA has also changed me a lot. I think for the better. You know, I grew up in a town of like 10,000 people. It's made me like more motivated because there is more opportunity. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I think I judge myself a lot more than I used to, and I have like higher standards for myself now, and I'm way harder on myself now than I was back then. When I first started making videos, I think I was less worried about the internet's reaction to what I was doing because I didn't even expect anyone to watch anyway. I think the hardest thing that I've had to learn is to not pay attention to comparisons as much. There were so many times where I was just like looking at what other people were doing and constantly comparing it to what I was doing. And so when I started focusing more on myself and what I wanted to do, it got a lot easier, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna do my own thing and do what I enjoy and do it the best that I can do. It's tough, but it's gotta be somebody, so why not you? I just remember there being a point when I first started making videos that I was starting to get more consistent about it and starting to actually gain a community. As soon as there was a community behind it and there was people that kept coming back, that was the turning point where I was like, oh, I want to be doing this. I've definitely questioned whether I'm on the right track or if I'm making the right decision. I've never regretted it for a second, but there's definitely been times where it's like, ooh, I should think about other avenues if this were to fail. You just kind of gotta create what you can while you can do it and just hope that like everything does work out. If I had any tip for somebody starting, just creating at all, do it for the right reasons. You should start making videos because it's what you love to do and you want to scratch that creative itch, or you just want to have a fun time and like get into something that you love doing. People are drawn to passionate people. The love for what you're creating is going to come across in the stuff that you create, and people are drawn to that, so do it because you love it. I'm Ethan from CrankGameplays, and on August 29th, 2012, I took the leap.